During the break, a crowd hurried out of the classroom. A moment later, my deskmate ran back, slightly out of breath, and placed a bottle of milk on my desk. "Your Noah Brown asked me to give this to you." She caught her breath and said, "Emily, aren't you going to take a look? There's a new girl who just transferred into Noah Brown's class, and she's really pretty. Such fair skin and long legs." I heard she's an art student who transferred to the science class to catch up on cultural studies. I sipped the milk and replied, "No time. I haven't finished my assignments yet." My deskmate teased, "Aren't you afraid that Noah Brown might fall for her?" After saying that, she immediately dismissed it herself. But considering his aloof personality and his complete indifference to anything beyond his studies, I think the chance of him falling for someone else is pretty unlikely. I just smiled, unconcerned. Everyone knew that Noah Brown and I were childhood friends. Our parents were close, and we were practically bound together before we were even born. Growing up, Noah Brown and I were seen as the perfect match by everyone around us. He never denied it, and I never bothered to explain. Noah Brown was a cool and distant person, always keeping a respectful distance from other girls, except for me. He had turned down countless girls, beautiful ones, top students, girls from influential families. So I wasn't worried that the newly transferred, pretty art student would capture his attention. After school that evening, I caught a glimpse of the art student. I slung my backpack over my shoulder and left with Noah Brown, who was waiting by the door, when a wave of rose perfume drifted over. A long-haired girl stopped Noah Brown in his tracks. With bright, cheerful eyes and a sweet smile, she said, "Noah Brown, the group is throwing me a welcome party tonight. Why don't you come along?" Noah Brown took a step back. "Sorry, I don't have time." He then stepped around her and left. After walking a few steps, he turned back to me. "Emily Wilson, let's go." "Oh." I pulled my gaze away from the art student, not missing the look in her eyes when she glanced at me, inquisitive, with a hint of interest. On the way home, we talked about difficult problems, putting the little episode from after school behind us. At my doorstep, Noah Brown suddenly stopped me. "Emily Wilson, let's both apply to Nan University." The soft glow from the street lamp softened his usually sharp, handsome features. Even his tone was less frosty than usual. My heart skipped a beat and I smiled. "Okay." Every day, Noah Brown would unfailingly buy me a bottle of milk. One day, after returning from the restroom with my deskmate, we passed by his class, and he called out to me, handing the milk over through the window. I looked up and saw a girl sitting backward, leaning on his desk. Noah Brown frowned slightly. "Sophia Miller, go back to your own seat." "Oh, come on! What's the harm in sitting here for a bit?" The girl pouted, then turned around, catching my gaze. When she saw me, her smile grew, though she only gave me a fleeting glance, seemingly ignoring my presence intentionally, before turning back to focus on Noah Brown. In a curious tone, with a hint of playfulness, she said, "You always buy this brand of milk. Is it good? Bring me one tomorrow, too." "Buy it yourself." Sophia Miller made a face. "Some class monitor you are, not caring for your classmates at all." After that, I started seeing Sophia Miller everywhere. However, after pestering Noah Brown for a while, she eventually gave up on her own. My life with Noah Brown returned to its usual calm. One day, Noah Brown and I were discussing a difficult problem through the window, deeply engaged in our work, when he suddenly looked straight past me. His usually calm eyes were suddenly turbulent. Without turning around, I heard a crisp, bell-like laughter. Sophia Miller was chatting with a boy, laughing as they discussed some funny story from the cafeteria. Sophia Miller. The person in front of me spoke, his voice betraying a barely concealed irritation. Class monitor?" Sophia Miller looked up in surprise, her expression calm. "Did you need something from me?" I quietly observed Noah Brown. He seemed to have forgotten my presence entirely, staring fixed at the person behind me. The corner of the test paper he held was crumpled, the veins on the back of his hand clearly visible. Noah Brown said, "For the math group project, you're the only one who hasn't signed up." Sophia Miller suddenly understood. Before she could respond, the boy next to her spoke up. "Oh, class monitor. Sophia Miller told me this morning she'd be in my group. I forgot to let you know." Sophia Miller feigned annoyance. "I thought you already told him." "I forgot, heh." They walked away, joking as they went. Noah Brown stood motionless, his eyes behind the glasses as deep as the sea. At that moment, it felt as if something was slipping away from my grasp. One day, I returned from PE class, drenched in sweat, and happened to run into Sophia Miller standing in the hallway with her friends. She leaned on the railing with one hand, holding a bottle of milk in the other, laughing freely. Sophia Miller glanced at me briefly before turning away, casually handing the milk to her friend beside her. "Noah Brown gave it to me. I don't want it, so you can have it." Her friend teased her playfully. "Oh, has the class monitor been buying you milk every day now? Is it because?" "Oh, stop. He's annoying." Without breaking my stride, I returned to the classroom, expressionless. On my desk sat the bottle of milk he had missed bringing in the morning. It was still the brand I liked. I took a sip, frowned, and tossed it away. My desk mate looked at me, puzzled. "Why'd you throw it away when you haven't even finished it?" "It's spoiled." That evening, out of spite, I didn't wait for Noah Brown and went home early. He didn't try to find me either. The next day, we crossed paths in the elevator, and Noah Brown only asked, "Was there a lot of homework yesterday? Why'd you leave early?" I watched the numbers count down and replied, "Yeah." After a few seconds of silence, I added, "I've been breaking out lately. I'm getting a bit heaty, so stop buying milk for me." Noah Brown didn't say a word. I had the feeling he was watching me the whole time. When the elevator doors finally opened, I heard his cool reply, "All right." I had fallen into a cold war with Noah Brown. Even my desk mate noticed something was off between us and said, "No way did my childhood friend Ship just get a bad ending?" I tapped her forehead with my pen. "Focus on your studies. The monthly exams are right around the corner." She clutched her head, protesting. "Emily, I heard that at the upcoming New Year's Eve party, your Noah Brown is going to perform with Sophia Miller. Aren't you upset about it?" Upset? Of course I was, but I still believed deep down that our relationship couldn't be that fragile. Just a few more days. I told myself to wait. On the day of the New Year's Eve party, the school was buzzing with excitement. Right before Noah Brown's class performance, whistles and cheers suddenly erupted from the darkened audience. "Noah Brown, Sophia Miller, Noah Brown, Sophia Miller." The calls echoed rhythmically, over and over again. Then a spotlight abruptly illuminated the stage, revealing a young man and woman sitting together at the piano. He was in a black suit, she in a white gown, both looking stunning and glamorous. They were as enchanting as characters from a fairy tale. "Shh." Sophia Miller approached the microphone and flashed a playful smile. "Our performance is about to begin." The crowd fell silent. Light, melodious notes began to flow from their graceful, skillful fingers. They moved in perfect harmony, exchanging smiles as they played. Anyone watching would have to admit they looked like a perfect match. It had only been a couple of weeks since we last went to school together, but I found myself barely recognizing Noah Brown on the stage. That gentle expression, that soft, shy smile, these were sides of him I had never seen before. My heart suddenly skipped a beat. A massive, dark wave of disappointment surged over me, suffocating me as if I'd been shut out from their world. My hand trembled as I reached for my phone. I could no longer hear what my desk mate was saying. I kept my head down, repeating, "It's fine." But the calmer my words, the more tears fell onto my phone screen. Finally, amidst the roaring crowd and everyone cheering for them, I hid my disarray and rushed out the door. By the little lake in front of the school library. 9 o'clock. No one came. 10 o'clock. No one came. 11 o'clock. Still no one came. In my social media feed, a classmate had posted a photo. On stage, the man and woman were playing a duet, smiling at each other. The lights seemed brighter because of them. I wiped the tears from my phone screen, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't dry them completely. The winter night wind was bitterly cold, cutting through to the bone and making me shiver. At 11:30, I finally heard a rustling sound behind me. I jumped up, and a beam of light flashed, accompanied by a guy's clear and sharp exclamation, "What the hell?" The light hit my face, and I shielded my eyes from the glare. "Hey, are you a human or a ghost?" The guy stood a few steps away from me, and his voice was oddly hoarse as he asked, "I'm human." As soon as I spoke, I realized my voice was raspy. "You scared me. I thought I heard someone crying and figured there was a ghost haunting the school, wailing." He sounded relaxed. For some reason, I choked up. "I'm not a ghost." Immediately, the guy panicked, his phone flashlight wobbling erratically. Hey, don't cry, don't cry. My bad. I shouldn't have called you a ghost. I'm sorry. You're not a ghost. You're a fairy. I'm the ghost. His attempt at comfort only made me cry harder. He squatted down a meter away, and through my tear-blurred eyes, I saw him scratching his head and pushing something toward me with a stick. How about this? I just bought a little cake. I'll give it to you as my apology, so don't cry anymore. I sniffled. In the dim light, I could see he had already stood up. He was tall, but I couldn't make out his face. The cold wind carried a faint, clean scent from him, along with a sigh. It's late. A girl out here alone at night? It's not safe. You should head back. With that, he was gone. I looked at my phone again. Only messages from my parents and my deskmate had come through. After replying to them, I took a deep breath and gazed at the dark, shadowy lake ahead of me. A few seconds later, I picked up the small cake the stranger had given me and walked away. The cake was blue, topped with a little blonde mermaid. When I reached the bottom of my apartment building, I sensed something and glanced back. Around the corner, a long shadow quickly disappeared. All around, it was silent and still, except for a stray cat meowing softly somewhere nearby. I waited a moment, but the figure I hoped for never appeared. I smiled wryly to myself, feeling the cracked skin of my lips sting. The time on my phone jumped to 11:59 p.m. As I opened the door, my parents' smiling faces greeted me, holding a cake in their hands. Emily, happy birthday! The next morning, when I woke up, I felt lightheaded and dizzy. The alarm rang several times, but I struggled to get up without success. In a daze, I heard my mom exclaim, "Emily, why is your forehead so hot?" After that, I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I found myself in the hospital. My mom was sitting by my side. Seeing my eyes open, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a small gift box. Mom said, "When we arrived at the hospital this morning, we happened to run into Noah downstairs. He said it's a belated birthday gift for you." "Oh, aren't you going to open it and have a look?" "No." Maybe it was because I was still feeling sick. I just wanted to cling to my mom and didn't feel like moving. After finishing my IV drip, I went home to rest for half a day, and in the afternoon, I returned to school. It happened to be the time for the monthly exams, and I had missed the morning language exam. The seating for the monthly exam was arranged according to the results of the previous exam. Both Noah Brown and I were placed in the first examination room, which was the classroom for Science Class 1. He was assigned seat number 1, and I was number 2. As soon as I sat down, Noah Brown turned around, his tone unusually concerned. "Are you feeling better?" I didn't look up as I arranged my stationery. "Yeah." He was silent for a few seconds. "What happened to you? Why didn't you come over last night?" "What?" The bell rang. I met his cool gaze, and after a long pause, I said, "All right, let's stop talking. The proctor is here." He kept a calm expression and didn't press further. That was just how Noah Brown was. Ever since we were young, no matter the situation, even during arguments with me or his parents, he always remained incredibly calm. It seemed like nothing could ever affect his emotions. If I hadn't seen him on stage with my own eyes last night, I might still believe that. When the exam ended, I packed my things and stood up to leave. "Emily." I ignored Noah Brown's voice calling me from behind. Distracted, I didn't notice and bumped into a boy entering the classroom. "Whoa." His voice sounded somewhat familiar. I looked up, meeting the boy's bright, clear eyes. He had unusual amber-colored eyes, and I couldn't help but stare for a few moments. He was quite tall. Noticing me staring, he politely stepped aside to avoid any awkwardness. Snapping out of it, I quickly lowered my head. "Sorry, it's all right." His voice was clear, with that unique, slightly indifferent laziness of a teenager. "Ethan Jones, why are you walking so fast?" Another boy ran over and without a word punched him on the shoulder. Ethan Jones kicked him back. That was Ethan Jones, the boy whose grades in science and liberal arts were worlds apart. He almost always scored full marks in science, but his performance in liberal arts was mediocre at best. Our language teacher would always sigh and lament about him. Thinking of this, I looked up at him again. Ethan Jones and his friend walked into the classroom side by side, bantering as they went, with dimples faintly appearing on his cheeks. The setting sun bathed him in its glow, tinting his ears red. Perhaps sensing my gaze, Ethan Jones inadvertently turned his head, and our eyes met. His amber eyes blinked in sudden fluster, then he quickly looked away. When I returned to the classroom, there was an apple left on my desk. It must have been forgotten by the student who used my seat during the exam. I stuffed the apple back into the desk pouch, planning to leave it there until the evening so they could pick it up after their next exam. To prevent them from forgetting it again, I wrote a note and stuck it on the apple. "Don't forget your apple." After the evening exam ended, Noah Brown stood up before I did. "Emily Wilson, let's talk." He wasn't a fool. My one-sided Cold War had been obvious enough that there was no way he hadn't noticed. All right. As soon as we stepped out of Class 1's door, we ran into that guy from earlier, Ethan Jones. He was tossing an apple in his hand, chatting and laughing with his friends. One of his friends nudged him playfully, waggling his eyebrows. "I saw that note on the apple earlier. Come on, fess up. Who gave it to you?" Ethan Jones clicked his tongue impatiently, but his expression revealed a smugness typical of a teenage boy trying to hide his pride. "I bought it myself. Do I look like someone who just accepts things from others? Look at you, all smug. I'd be crazy to believe you." His friend reached toward Ethan Jones's pocket. "Come on, show me the note." Ethan Jones dodged out of the way, moving so quickly that he ended up right in front of me. Noah Brown raised his arm to block him, keeping him from bumping into me. Ethan Jones's arm brushed against Noah Brown's shoulder, not heavily, but it made Noah Brown frown. Ethan Jones looked back, and for a moment his eyes met mine. He wore a bright, playful grin that made his eyes sparkle. For some reason, his ears turned red in an instant, and he awkwardly hid the apple behind his back. "Sorry about that." I glanced at the apple, then looked back up at his face. "You don't have to apologize to me. You bumped into him." I gestured to Noah Brown beside me. Those amber eyes shifted to Noah Brown, and his tone lost its earlier nervousness. "My bad. Didn't see you there." Noah Brown lowered his arm, not replying, and spoke quietly to me. "I'll go pack up. I'll wait for you outside your classroom." "Okay." By the time I refocused, Ethan Jones had already wrapped his arm around his friend's neck, dragging him back into the classroom while pretending to scold, "You're gonna get it from me." For no particular reason, I couldn't help but let out a chuckle. The apple on the desk was indeed gone. All that remained on the table was a piece of scratch paper with just 2 words written on it. "Thank you." The handwriting was powerful and fluid, as graceful as a dragon in flight. The writing matched the person. After packing my bag, I waited for a while but didn't see Noah Brown come over, so I had to go to his classroom. But when I got there, I found that their class had already turned off the lights and locked the door. I stood at the door of Class 2, shrouded in darkness, and dialed his number. Inside the desk cubby by the window, a faint light from a phone appeared. I hung up, and the light disappeared. Noah Brown had broken his promise. I felt hollow, like something had been cut away from me. Just a moment before, I had even foolishly hoped to have a good talk with him. The next day, during the break time exercises, I, as the student on duty, checked in on Class 2. I passed by Noah Brown without glancing to the side. Suddenly, he spoke up. "Last night." In the line of girls next to him, Sophia Miller had switched places with someone, and, acting as if I didn't exist, stuffed a lollipop into Noah Brown's uniform pocket. She tilted her head, playfully sticking out her tongue. "For you, as a thank you for walking me home last night." Oh. The reason for his absence was now clear. Noah Brown pressed his lips together without rejecting it, then turned to look at me. I looked down, avoiding his gaze, and deducted points from Class 2 on my score sheet. Switching places and chatting during break time exercises, -5 points. Then I turned and headed to Class 1 next door. Behind me, I heard Sophia Miller's indignant voice. "What the heck, class monitor, isn't she your friend?" And yet she still deducted points from our class. At the end of Class 1's line, seeing me approach, the tall, swaying boy suddenly straightened his back and began performing the break time exercises with perfect precision. He even kicked the boy in front of him, who was also slacking, in the butt. "Do it seriously!" The other boy turned around, his expression shifting from anger to a look that clearly said, "Are you out of your mind?" Then he saw me, and his expression grew more complicated. "Ethan Jones, you're really putting effort into the exercises today." Ethan Jones kicked him in the butt again. Keep talking, and she'll dock your points. I chuckled softly, and as I passed by him, left a remark. Relax, no points deducted. The results for the monthly exam papers came back quickly. We had just finished the exams yesterday, and today, the results were already out. The homeroom teacher asked me to go pick up my language exam paper. But before I even entered the office, I overheard a teacher scolding someone in a tone full of disappointment. Ethan Jones, what were you even writing in your essay? I used navigation and still couldn't find your main point. What's the use of getting perfect scores in math and physics? Your language score is dragging you down. How are you going to handle the college entrance exams? Don't look away, I'm talking to you. I knocked on the door and said, Teacher, I'm here to pick up the exam papers. Oh, right. Come on in. I walked past Ethan Jones, brushing shoulders with him, and headed straight to the homeroom teacher's desk in the back. The language teacher for Class 1 lowered his voice a bit and said, Emily Wilson didn't take the language exam this time because she was sick. Otherwise, I'd have shown you her essay so you could see how it's done. Hearing my name mentioned, I gave the teacher an embarrassed smile. I turned and met Ethan Jones's gaze. He looked stunned for a moment, then quickly shifted his attention away and said in a defiant tone, Fine, next time then. Show me her essay next time. Always acting so careless. Take your paper and go. Spend more time reading some essay examples when you get back. Ethan Jones followed closely behind me as we walked back to the classroom. Our shadows stretched long and short on the ground, overlapping and separating as we moved. At the classroom door, he unexpectedly called out to me, Emily Wilson. I turned back, surprised. He was standing against the light, his face hidden in shadow. Ethan Jones pulled his hand out of his jacket pocket and tossed something into the air. 2 packs of yogurt chips landed on top of the papers I was holding against my chest. You didn't dock points when I was talking with my friend during the break time exercises. Consider this a thank you gift. I didn't refuse. All right, I'll accept it. See you later. Ethan Jones walked away, and as I turned back, I saw Noah Brown standing behind me. His gaze shifted from Ethan Jones to me. About last night? I'm sorry. Let's talk after school today. I walked into the classroom with a blank expression. No need. Last night, no matter how urgent of an issue Sophia Miller had that required him to escort her, he could have borrowed her phone to explain things to me, but I received nothing. There were only 2 possible reasons. 1, he didn't want to. 2, he couldn't remember my number. Either way, neither reason was enough for me to keep holding on to any hope for him. Noah Brown, shockingly, did poorly on this monthly exam and fell to 5th place in the grade. He had never dropped below 3rd before. Soon, I found out why. As I was coming out of the snack shop, the class bell rang. I took a shortcut through the small grove. Not far away, Sophia Miller pulled Noah Brown to the corner of the wall. With her hands behind her back, she leaned in close to him. If I remembered correctly, Class 2 had PE this period. Noah Brown, do you like that girl Emily Wilson from Class 3? No, he answered quickly. Then why did I hear people say that you two? Neighbors, Noah Brown replied concisely. She's just my neighbor. Sophia Miller smiled slyly and stood on tiptoe to peck his lips, as light as a dragonfly skimming the water. Noah Brown, I like you. Noah Brown hesitated for a few seconds, then suddenly pulled her into a tight embrace and kissed her deeply. The kiss was clumsy and intense, filled with the raw excitement of youthful inexperience. I stood there watching for a while. I thought I would feel sad, but strangely, all I could think about was, I'm going to be late for class. I turned and walked away. After running a short distance, I heard footsteps behind me. I looked back. Ethan Jones was munching on a piece of bread, his cheeks puffed up. He kept running toward me without slowing down, his black hair bouncing with each step. As he passed by, he kindly reminded me, You're late for class. Why aren't you class? His voice was muffled, cheeks puffed like a little hamster. When we got to the stairs, he stopped abruptly, and I bumped into his back. Ethan Jones started coughing violently, his face turning red. He pointed at the bottle of water in my hand. I said I drank from it. Cough, cough, I cough, cough, won't touch the bottle with my mouth. Cough, cough, cough. Seeing him struggling, I handed the water over. He drank the remaining half bottle in one go. A drop of kindness must be repaid with a fountain. His face was still flushed from coughing. Very well. Ethan Jones's repayment came quickly. So, after school that afternoon, we changed seats and I moved to the spot by the window. As soon as I sat down, I heard 2 knocks on the window. Ethan Jones was leaning against the windowsill, his dimples showing clearly as he smiled. He waved a bottle of water and a cup of yogurt in his hands. "Savior, I've come to repay your kindness." It felt as if it had been deliberately arranged. After that, I ran into Ethan Jones everywhere I went. Somehow, inexplicably, I found myself getting closer and closer to him. I would ask him about difficult science problems, and he would ask me for advice on how to write better essays. Ethan Jones was incredibly smart when it came to academics, the kind of smart that made others envious, effortlessly so. I would spend an entire night mulling over a question, and he could figure out the solution after just a short while. No wonder all the science teachers liked him. My desk mate asked me why I was suddenly so close to him. I told her I had saved his life. She looked at me like I was an idiot. No one brought up my relationship with Noah Brown anymore. Everyone silently agreed not to mention it. It was obvious to everyone that he and Sophia Miller had a special connection. I still ran into Noah Brown almost every day, but we hadn't spoken in a long time. Ever since I threw that bottle of milk away, he hadn't given me another one. Instead, Sophia Miller would strut past the doorway of our class every day, carrying a bottle of milk, showing off in various ways. Each time, my desk mate would roll her eyes and mutter, "If she keeps flaunting like this, I won't be able to resist reporting them for dating early." Seeing that I remained unmoved, she asked why I wasn't angry. I replied, "To be honest, at first I was a little sad, but that sadness was about my disappointment in Noah Brown, not about Sophia Miller. My disappointment also had to do with my own mistakes. It's not like we were a couple, right? I had no right to control him. Even if we were together, I wouldn't be able to stop others from doing what they want. I used to like Noah Brown, but I'm over it now. I'm only 17. I have endless possibilities ahead of me. I'm optimistic, hardworking, and even a bit pretty. Why would I waste my life over a guy who's always cold to me? Not to brag, but I'm all about my studies right now. Just wait until I'm done with that. Once I'm finished studying, I'll have as many admirers as I want." My desk mate timidly asked, "So, how long do you plan on studying? Life is boundless, and so is the sea of knowledge." Soon it was time for final exams. In these recent exams, Noah Brown's grades hadn't continued to decline, but he still hovered around 5th place in the grade. As for the top spot in science that he was used to holding, it had become something I had firmly secured. On the day the final grades were released, I went to the homeroom teacher's office to collect my report card. I overheard the homeroom teacher from Class 2 talking, if Noah Brown puts in a bit more effort next semester, he'll easily reclaim 1st place. I've reviewed his test papers, and most of his point deductions were due to careless mistakes. After all, he's a boy, not as meticulous as a girl, but still sharper than the girls. My homeroom teacher just smiled without responding. When the Class 2 homeroom teacher saw me, she quickly changed the topic. My homeroom teacher asked me what my plans were for the winter break. I initially wanted to say I had none, but then I changed my mind. A few classmates and I are planning to form a study group to focus on science subjects. We found a male student who's really good at science to help us. The Class 2 homeroom teacher interrupted. "No wonder Noah Brown mentioned that he'd be tutoring classmates over the break. So it's for your class, huh?" I replied, "Oh no, I wasn't talking about him. The male student who's really good at science is Ethan Jones from Class 1. My homeroom teacher stifled a laugh. Ethan Jones agreed to it? Yes. In exchange, I'm tutoring him in liberal arts. Just then, the Class 1 homeroom teacher burst into the room. "I heard you mention Ethan Jones. What were you saying about him?" Ethan Jones himself was right behind him. My homeroom teacher laughed and explained the study help arrangement to him. Realization dawned on him, and he chuckled. So Emily Wilson is the genius Ethan Jones was talking about, the one helping him with liberal arts. I thought his recent improvement in that subject was because I'd scolded him into it. As he spoke, he gave me a pat on the shoulder. "Emily Wilson, make sure to work this brat hard over the break." He also said to Ethan Jones, "Ethan Jones, show off that brilliant mind of yours to our class as well. The Class 2 homeroom teacher added, "I have to say, boys' brains are just naturally sharper. Look at Ethan Jones and Noah Brown from our class. They can both ace science without breaking a sweat." Ethan Jones peeked out from behind his teacher. "Are you complimenting me, sir?" "Thanks. But I don't think I'm as smart as Emily Wilson from Class 3. She's truly impressive." This time, she was the only one in the entire school to get a perfect score in physics. I actually came here to check out her test paper. His dimples appeared as he smiled. Even though he was smiling, his tone carried a hint of sarcasm. The Class 2 homeroom teacher was momentarily speechless, and just then, the class committee member from their class walked in. She muttered something under her breath and turned away. Ethan Jones sneakily flashed me a victory sign. Winter break. I had just stepped out the door, ready to head to the library, when I bumped into a group of people at the entrance across from me. Sophia Miller and a few of her friends were pressing the doorbell. Within a few seconds, Noah Brown opened the door from the inside. I glanced at him briefly, then looked away. Sophia Miller's laughter echoed in my ears. "I remember you saying you and Emily Wilson are neighbors, but I didn't realize you guys lived this close." Noah Brown let out a small and invited them inside. As I changed my shoes, I heard Noah Brown's voice behind me. "Emily Wilson, you're avoiding me." It was a statement, not a question, uttered with complete certainty. I found it amusing. "You're overthinking it. Then why, when my mom invited you over for dinner, did you never come again? Too much homework. No time." Emily Wilson, Sophia Miller, already inside, poked her head out again. "Noah Brown, everyone's waiting for you. Why aren't you coming in?" She glanced at me with a meaningful look. "Emily Wilson, I hope we can still be friends." Noah Brown said this, then closed the door before I could respond. I laughed out of sheer exasperation. Standing at the door, I sent him a message on WeChat. I don't befriend people who lack manners. After hitting send, I deleted his WeChat contact along with his phone number. Predictably, Noah Brown didn't respond. If he hadn't said those words today, we might have quietly remained in each other's contact lists. But he called us friends. A deeply ironic label. There was never any talk of friends or neighbors between us. In the face of everyone's teasing, their playful comments, he never denied anything. I liked Noah Brown, and I believed he had liked me too. But now I realized I was wrong. I was simply a shield he used to deflect others. And I endured his cold words without complaint, never causing trouble, passively accepting it all. To put it bluntly, I was his simp. For the past decade, I had centered my life around either textbooks or Noah Brown. I barely had any close friends. People's first impression of me was always Noah Brown's childhood friend, Emily Wilson. But now, I was Emily Wilson, the top student of Jiang High School, no longer someone's shadow. Without Noah Brown, my future suddenly seemed bright and wide open. In the days I no longer paid attention to him, I found more time to invest in myself and to appreciate the beauty around me. Knock, knock. At the library, across the table from me, Ethan Jones waved his phone at me, signaling for me to check mine. "Emily Wilson, it's snowing." Outside the window, the daylight was dim, and snowflakes were drifting down. But I saw a ray of light. The boy in front of me flashed a dimpled smile, then sent another message. "Today's the first snow of the season. Make a wish." I looked up, meeting his shining amber eyes. "Then let's wish for a future filled with light and grandeur for us both." I parted ways with Noah Brown with unspoken understanding. There was no heated argument. Just as he wished, we became true neighbors. Occasionally, when we ran into each other and couldn't avoid it, we would smile and nod. Somehow, the matter between him and Sophia Miller had been exposed, and the teacher called Noah Brown's parents. When they saw me, his parents cautiously asked, "Emily, why haven't we seen you around lately? Did you and Noah have a fight?" Since we were little, they had jokingly called me their future daughter-in-law. Noah Brown had always kept his distance from other girls, so when they found out he was dating someone else, they were naturally shocked and confused. But I could tell they didn't blame him for it. On the contrary, when I shook my head and said we hadn't fought, a faint, almost imperceptible look of satisfaction appeared on their faces. "Emily, boys this age are bound to be playful. Just wait for him to come back, and Auntie and Uncle will talk to him." "Emily Wilson, no need to wait. Noah Brown had already returned, shouting angrily. I turned around. He was furious, a side of him I had never seen before. "Come here, I have something to say to you." He grabbed my arm and started walking toward the elevator. I stumbled and instinctively reached out to steady myself, but Noah Brown quickly pulled his hand away. Behind us, his parents smiled and called out, "Noah, have a good talk with Emily. Kids never hold grudges overnight." People were around us the entire way. Only when we reached a secluded corner of the park in the neighborhood did Noah Brown finally stop. I stood on his shadow, trying to guess what he was going to say. "Emily Wilson, was it you who reported the matter between Sophia Miller and me?" His voice was icy. I paused for a moment. So it was about that. No. He frowned. He didn't believe me. I shrugged and found a nearby bench to sit on. "Earlier, when I was with her near the grove at school, I saw you." I let out a small laugh. Oh, he had seen me. So even the word neighbor had been deliberately said for me to hear, hoping I would back off on my own. I checked the time on my phone. "Noah Brown, don't tell me you think I still like you." I admit, I used to like you, but not anymore. Who you date has nothing to do with me. If I had the energy to meddle in your affairs, I'd rather spend it on doing a couple more practice problems. I looked up, and he gazed down at me. In the past, when he looked at me like that, I would always tread carefully, trying to read any hint of emotion in his expression. Was it dislike, or maybe affection? But now I just found him ridiculous, even a little annoying. A message from Ethan Jones popped up on my phone screen. "Emily Wilson, you're not studying at this hour, are you? You promised to join us tonight for the New Year's fireworks. Don't back out." I replied quickly, "Whoever doesn't come is a coward." Ethan Jones sent a voice message. "I'll be right below your building. Come downstairs in 10 minutes. There was the sound of car horns and background chatter on his end. It sounded like he was running, with the faint whoosh of wind and his breaths in between. I could imagine him charging forward with that spirited look on his face. I smiled. "Emily Wilson." Noah Brown stepped forward, blocking the light from the street lamp. His expression had changed. He no longer looked angry, but now showed a hesitation I couldn't quite decipher. I stood up. "Believe it or not, I didn't do it, and that's that. I have plans, so I'm leaving." I had barely taken 2 steps. "Emily Wilson?" This time his voice was so soft it was easily swallowed by the wind. I didn't stop. "Happy New Year's Eve," he said. I waved my hand and strode toward the entrance of the neighborhood. Ethan Jones and his group noisily rode their little electric scooters. They were all classmates who had studied together during the winter break, and my deskmate was there as well. "Ah, you two coordinated this, didn't you?" "Wearing couple outfits tonight," my deskmate said, grinning like a flower. Go, you sit behind Ethan Jones." I glanced at Ethan Jones. We were both wearing yellow down jackets, the same color, but different styles. He had one foot propped on the ground, leaning against the scooter with a smile, completely unfazed by my deskmate's teasing. He handed me a helmet, playing along. "Since Linda Davis said so, then Emily Wilson, let's make her shipping wish come true." I took the helmet, but swung around to sit on Linda Davis's scooter instead. I strapped the helmet on and raised an eyebrow at Ethan Jones. "I'm not daring enough to ride with you. You go too fast. If we ran into traffic police, I wouldn't even have time to get off." The warm, dim streetlight shone on Ethan Jones's head. He leaned against the handlebars, staring at me, a breeze stirring in his amber eyes, quiet and tender. He curled his lips, revealing a dimple on one side. "If you were on my scooter, I'd definitely slow down." I didn't know when it had happened, but Ethan Jones was no longer that boy who blushed at every little thing. I felt like he'd secretly trained himself. Every move he made was laced with a springtime warmth that stirred the heart. I avoided his gaze, patted Linda on the shoulder, and waved my hand to signal, "Let's go." There were a lot of people by the lake to watch the fireworks. We searched here and there before finding a spot with relatively fewer people. We arrived just in time, barely settling in when the countdown began from a nearby crowd. 5, 4, 4. We joined in, shouting in unison. 3, 2, 1. Across the lake, fireworks suddenly soared into the sky, tearing through the night. A warm breath brushed past my ear. "Emily Wilson, Happy New Year. May all your wishes come true." Ethan Jones stood beside me, his arm hovering protectively behind my back, shielding me from the crowd's jostling. He looked down, smiling softly. His eyes reflected the fireworks shining brightly. And with that, the loud and magnificent fireworks erupted one after another. Our friends were shouting their wishes into the night. Adulthood, here I come. Linda Davis is ready. Good luck with the college entrance exams. May we all get into our dream schools. I cupped my hands around my mouth and yelled, Nan University, wait for me. Boom, boom, boom. The fireworks kept coming. Thump, thump, thump. My heart raced. In the icy winter wind, the passion in our youthful hearts burned brightly. I turned my head and found Ethan Jones still looking at me. Ethan Jones, Happy New Year. May everything go your way, I heard myself say. The winter break tutoring hadn't been in vain. During the start of term exam, I once again took first place without question. All my friends who had joined the tutoring sessions saw their scores improve, especially Ethan Jones. He even managed to break into the top 10 in our grade. The homeroom teacher from class 1 walked past our classroom, then took a few steps back and said, Emily Wilson, it seems that your tutoring methods really worked for Ethan Jones. My desk mate whispered teasingly, It's not about the method, it's about the person. I nudged her. After the teacher left, she leaned in and asked, So, on New Year's Eve, what little secrets were you two sharing? Did he confess to you? She mouthed the word confess silently. No, you're overthinking it. Really, nothing? She examined my face closely. Perhaps not seeing any hint of embarrassment, she gave up on prying further. Ethan Jones liked me. I wasn't a fool. I did have some feelings for him, too. I wondered if it was because the fireworks that night had been so beautiful. I couldn't stop someone else's emotions, but I could suppress my own fleeting feelings. Right now, the most important thing was the college entrance exams. I couldn't afford to think about anything else. At lunchtime, we headed to the cafeteria, passing by the honor roll. Linda Davis stood on tiptoe to get a better look and said, Hey, Noah Brown made it up there this time. Second place, right next to you. As soon as she said this, the person in front of us stopped. Noah Brown turned around. Linda went silent. He looked like he had lost weight. Even in a down jacket, he seemed as if the wind might blow him away any moment. Congratulations. Noah Brown looked at me quietly, his voice calm and emotionless. Thank you. The early spring wind was still chilly, gusting between us. We were like two ships parting ways, each headed for a different harbor. Someone ran up from behind and pulled up the hood of my coat. In an instant, the wind stopped. Emily Wilson, aren't you going to the cafeteria? Your favorite chicken wings are about to be gone. Ethan Jones jogged past with a few other boys, glancing back with a radiant smile. Hearing this, I quickly grabbed Linda and chased after them. It wasn't until we were far away that I realized I hadn't said goodbye to Noah Brown. I glanced back briefly. Tall and lean, he moved through the crowd with a kind of aloof grace. He seemed a bit solitary, but in the next moment, Sophia Miller ran over and joined him, walking side by side. Spring gave way to summer. After the tense and intense exam preparation, the college entrance exams arrived as scheduled. It was a muggy, overcast day. Once the last exam ended, the pent-up clouds finally released their rain. Many people dashed into the downpour, running and shouting, venting the frustration they had bottled up over the past 3 years. I stood under the eaves, raising my hand to let the raindrops slip through my fingers. Someone patted my shoulder. What are you planning to do over the summer? Ethan Jones leaned against the wall, tilting his head with a smile. Just as I was about to answer, Noah Brown walked up behind him. Ethan Jones noticed and shifted slightly, casting a sidelong glance at him before turning back with an undiminished smile. I said, I'm going to learn to drive. What about you? Ethan Jones shrugged lightly. Forced by my family to go abroad and play the role of their bag carrier. Sounds so pitiful. How about I take this wonderful job off your hands? Sure, go ahead. For some reason, Noah Brown, who had walked away, turned back and stepped between us. Noah Brown's tone was uncharacteristically soft. Emily Wilson, when are you leaving? Huh? Ethan Jones raised his head slightly, peeking over Noah Brown's shoulder. He looked a bit miserable, but his eyes were smiling, his voice full of feigned grievance. Emily Wilson, I didn't bring an umbrella. Can you walk me home? Noah Brown spoke almost at the same time. My mom said she'd like to invite you and Auntie to dinner tonight. Let's go home together. Ah, So that's why Noah Brown was suddenly so different. It turned out to be an order from his mom. Let's skip going home together. Please tell Auntie that I'll be there tonight. With that, I sidestepped him and met Ethan Jones's eyes. Let's go, young Master Ethan. I'll walk you to the school gate. All right. The umbrella was small, and Ethan Jones and I weren't standing very close, so both our shoulders ended up half soaked. He was tall, and after a while, he took the umbrella from me. He tilted it to cover my other shoulder. Without a word, I moved a little closer, our clothes brushing together. Ethan Jones, Emily Wilson. We spoke at the same time. Then we both chuckled. You go first, he said. My hand brushed lightly along the seam of his pants. Ethan Jones, have a great summer, and remember to use sunscreen. He paused for a moment, then broke into a smile. Dimples appeared at the corners of his lips. I suddenly realized how incredibly good-looking he was. He said, You too. Enjoy your driving lessons this summer. Then you can take me out for a drive. I don't have money to buy a car, though. No problem. I'll steal my dad's car and let you drive it. I nudged him with my elbow. Up ahead, someone called his name loudly. Ethan Jones lifted the umbrella, and as the misty rain drifted toward us, he raised his hand to shield me. He said, Speak of the devil. My dad's here. Let's go. I'll give you a ride home. You can even get an early feel of my dad's car. I pointed to another direction where my parents stood, watching for me eagerly. Maybe next time. My mom and dad are here too. He returned the umbrella to me, his hand grazing my fingertips. It was cold, yet somehow it sparked a silent flame. Ethan Jones bolted into the rain. The wind and rain swept in from the right, relentless. The boy in the rain turned back, running and waving. Emily Wilson, keep in touch. All right, let's keep in touch. I didn't skip the Brown family's dinner party. This was the first time I shared a table for a meal with Noah Brown after becoming neighbors. Auntie and Uncle were very enthusiastic, asking about my exam results and inquiring about my dream school. I smiled and answered each question. After returning from the restroom, I passed by Noah Brown's bedroom. He had his back to the door, talking on the phone with someone. Not today, tomorrow. My family is hosting guests today. Yes, she's here too. I didn't know what the person on the other end of the line said, but Noah Brown clicked his tongue lightly. His tone was very, very soft, but I knew this was his sign of extreme impatience. I didn't linger and headed back to the living room. This summer had been exhausting for me. During the day, I learned to drive. In the evenings, I took swimming lessons and practiced Thai boxing. My parents were worried about my safety when I went to study out of town, so they wanted me to learn a few survival skills. Meanwhile, Linda Davis and the others were constantly showing off in our group chat, bragging about their travels or food. On the day the scores came out, my parents were even more nervous than I was. After hearing my scores, the weight finally lifted off their shoulders. I was confident about getting into Nan University. Then, my homeroom teacher called, followed by calls from various admissions offices, keeping my parents happily busy. Ethan Jones sent me a photo. He was wearing sunglasses and beach shorts, but he'd gotten a tan. I replied, What did you send? I can't see anything at all. He didn't catch on at first and sent it again. It wasn't until after he sent it the second time that he realized. All right, Emily Wilson, now you even know how to be sarcastic. I stopped teasing him. I heard from the teacher that you scored second in the grade this time. Who could get first with you around? Have you decided which school you'll apply to? It's a secret. Even if he didn't say, I already knew. Just as I was about to log off, Ethan Jones sent a voice message. Emily Wilson, we were about to turn 18. His voice was clear and spirited, the vibrancy of youth practically bursting through the screen. Wishing you, wishing me, that we'll continue to shine brightly in the future. I ended up going to Nan University with Noah Brown after all. However, we were in different majors. I enrolled in bioengineering while he was in applied chemistry. Both of our parents came with us for registration. Before they left, they reminded us to help each other at school. The moment they left, I was ready to split up and go separate ways from Noah Brown. Emily Wilson, he called out to me. Noah Brown was tall, with good looks to match. When he stood there, he had a cool and aloof demeanor. A lot of people on the road were glancing at him. I asked if he needed something else. He said, Let's grab dinner together tonight with Sophia Miller and the others. They're all alumni from Jiang High School. I thought for a moment. All right. I told him to send me the time and location. That evening, we gathered for dinner. I was almost the last to arrive. The group started cheering. Our Jiang High School's top student is finally here. Now we can drink. You have to take a penalty shot. Before I could say anything, someone behind me placed a hand on my arm and leaned over with a grin. Sorry. It's all my fault that Emily Wilson was late. A penalty, right? Then I should be the one to drink it. Without another word, Ethan Jones grabbed a bottle and downed it, not even blushing or catching his breath afterward, acting like nothing had happened. After sitting down, he tugged on the corner of my shirt. Quick, pour me some coconut juice. I'm dying over here. I lifted the corner of my mouth in a smile. Ethan Jones had also come to Nan University. I'd known about his dream school for a long time from his good friend. He had applied for applied physics at Nan University. Across the table sat Noah Brown and Sophia Miller. Someone teased the two of them. Sophia Miller leaned against him with a sweet smile. I originally hadn't planned to apply to Nanchang, but since he was applying to Nan University, I decided to come along too. Noah Brown didn't look at her. His eyes were on me. I couldn't understand what he meant, so I looked away and started chatting with my classmates. After a few rounds of drinks, the atmosphere heated up, and someone started gossiping. Hey, Noah Brown, I used to think you and Emily Wilson were a couple. You two were inseparable, always side by side on the honor roll. The room suddenly fell silent. I instinctively looked over at Ethan Jones. He smiled reassuringly at me and refilled my glass with coconut juice. Sophia Miller was the first to break the silence. Her tone turned cold. If you can't speak properly, then shut up. That person realized he'd made a mistake, apologized repeatedly, and took 2 penalty shots before slumping back in his chair, pretending to be dead. Noah Brown said, "All right, Sophia, he's drunk. He was just spouting nonsense." That one light remark instantly lit the fuse in Sophia Miller's temper. She threw her chopsticks aside. Is this about being drunk? Then she stormed out of the room. Everyone exchanged glances. They urged Noah Brown to go after her and calm her down. This whole thing was that classmate's fault anyway. Even though I was mentioned, it wasn't really my business. Before leaving, Noah Brown inexplicably stopped between me and Ethan Jones. Emily Wilson. He hesitated, as if carefully choosing his words. Could you come with me to explain things to Sophia? She seems to misunderstand our relationship. The way he said it, it sounded like I had intentionally caused a fight between them. I laughed. But then I felt a weight on my shoulder. Ethan Jones's head wobbled on my shoulder. One moment he was sober, and the next he was completely drunk, out of his senses. He acted like a child, whining, Emily Wilson, my head hurts. It's so heavy, I can't lift it. I stifled a laugh and tried to soothe him. Where does it hurt? Let me rub it for you. Here, right here. He grabbed my hand and pressed it against his temple, letting out a couple of contented sighs, like a lazy, comfortable cat. Noah Brown realized we were doing it on purpose and left without another word. Ethan Jones dropped his drunken act, brushed the wrinkles off my shoulder, then froze for a moment, quickly retracting his hand. Trying to cover it up, he grabbed the cup next to him and took a drink. I gave him a puzzled look. You're drinking from my cup. He was startled and began coughing violently. His face and ears turned bright red. A classmate beside us tried to lighten the mood, thus making jokes about me and Ethan Jones. I've noticed something's off between you two for a while. Come on, spill it. Are you two together? When did it happen? While I poured water for Ethan Jones, who was still coughing, I replied, No, we're not together. Then, Ethan Jones, who had finally caught his breath, said, Yeah, you know Emily Wilson's got her heart and mind fully set on studying. There's no room for me at all. He said it while avoiding my gaze. What? Did drinking from the wrong cup make him suddenly all shy? I rolled my eyes. Noah Brown and Sophia Miller didn't return for the second half. Everyone tacitly agreed not to mention the two of them. That night, Linda Davis called me for some gossip. She told me that Sophia Miller and Noah Brown had a fight and were on the verge of breaking up, and Sophia Miller had been posting sarcastic messages on her social media. I asked Linda Davis how she had Sophia Miller's WeChat. She explained that when Sophia Miller had first transferred to Jiang High School, many classmates had asked for her contact information, and she had done the same. On the day of the military training, the late summer sun was scorching. One of my roommates couldn't stand the heat, got dizzy from heat stroke, and someone in the crowd started shouting. Just after we helped my roommate onto a male classmate's back, I suddenly felt myself lifted into the air. Someone was carrying me. Ethan Jones had lost his hat, his head was drenched in sweat, and he was carrying me while shouting for people to make way. I punched him. He grunted, finally looking down at me for a moment. "You're crazy, Ethan Jones. The one who's got heat stroke is my roommate." "Huh?" He froze. "I heard someone say a girl from Class 1 had fainted. I thought it was you." He set me down and rubbed his chest. "You've really been working on those little punches of yours." "Of course. Now I can take down a little Ethan Jones with just one punch." He clicked his tongue and flicked the brim of my hat. "Who are you calling little?" "I'm talking about you. Ethan Jones spread his arms wide and puffed out his chest. "Go ahead, hit me again. If I make a sound, I'm a puppy." I raised my fist and hit him. He burst out laughing. "You made a sound." He didn't argue and instead laughed even louder. "Woof." Around the corner, a figure was leaving. I recognized the fleeting profile. It was Noah Brown. Sophia Miller sent me a text message. It was the day after Linda Davis told me that she and Noah Brown had reconciled. "Let's talk." At first, I didn't reply, thinking someone had sent it to the wrong person. Then she tried to add me on WeChat, with the verification message saying, "I am Sophia Miller." I didn't have anything to talk with her, but I didn't want to waste any more time getting dragged into their relationship, so I accepted her request and replied, "I was never with Noah Brown, and I won't like him in the future either. Don't drag me into your issues anymore." She took a long time typing, only to reply with a single word, "Okay." See? Such a simple matter. 2 sentences, and it was resolved. No need for drama or fighting. University life was wonderful. I had extra time to do things outside of studying. I explored this unfamiliar city with my roommates, dressed up together, and discovered all sorts of new things. The first time I successfully put on makeup was on the night of our student council team building event. I had a few symbolic drinks that evening and went to the restroom at some point. When I came out, a guy called out to me. It took me a moment to recognize him as someone from our table, a senior a year ahead of me. "Emily Wilson, can I add you on WeChat?" He could have added me through the group chat, but he didn't. Instead, he asked me face to face. In a brief daze, I thought he resembled Noah Brown a little. Then I blinked, and Noah Brown actually appeared behind him. "Emily Wilson, what are you doing here?" I paused, pointing to the restroom sign. "What do you think?" "I see," Noah Brown sneered. He glanced at the senior, the meaning clear in his eyes. I didn't want to bother with him. I added the senior on WeChat, and we headed back together. The senior seemed to sense something. The person just now was an old classmate. The signals from the senior were obvious, so I pretended to be busy on my phone to avoid his gaze. On my phone, Ethan Jones had sent me a picture of him eating in the cafeteria. "Time to eat. Others get to eat nice food, while I can only stay home gnawing on a steamed bun, collapsing in tears." No worries, a steamed bun with chili sauce is still delicious. The after effects of those few sips of alcohol I had started to slowly kick in. I leaned back in my chair and typed on my phone. "Puppy Ethan, are you free?" He replied quickly. "Master, what do you need?" "Come pick me up. At your service." After the dinner ended, I politely declined the senior's offer to walk me home. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my arm as I was pulled into an embrace. I looked up to see Noah Brown's stern face. "Emily Wilson, haven't Auntie and Uncle ever reminded you that a young woman like you shouldn't drink when you're out alone?" His sudden concern was baffling. I pulled away, but he tightened his grip. He looked me up and down, a faint trace of admiration flickering in his eyes, though it was quickly replaced by even greater irritation. "You even learned to put on makeup?" "None of your business." "What are you two talking about?" A warm hand wrapped around my waist, gently pulling me aside. Ethan Jones looked down, his eyes shining. "Did you wait long?" I shook my head. Only then did he lift his gaze to look at the person in front of us. Suddenly realizing, he said, "Oh, it's you." From a distance, I thought it was some drunk pestering our fairy Emily. Noah Brown's face was cold, his lips pressed tightly together. His gaze was almost tangible as it landed on Ethan Jones's hand around my waist. Is everything okay? If so, we'll be off now. As we turned away, Ethan Jones deliberately didn't lower his voice. Who does he think he is? What's your relationship with him? Why is he telling you whether you can drink or wear makeup? Just a neighbor. He's even more controlling than I am. He raised his hand to hail a taxi. Actually, ever since Sophia Miller added me on WeChat last time, this wasn't the first time Noah Brown had meddled in my business. In Sophia Miller's social media, within just a few weeks, they had broken up and reconciled multiple times. He had even sent me texts in the middle of the night. It was as if he had forgotten what he had said to me before, casually asking if I had time. I didn't reply, but he didn't get angry either. Sophia Miller must have sensed something, because she came to the school to find me once. That day, I had just finished eating with my roommates and was heading back to the dorm when I saw her leaning gracefully against a tree trunk. She was strikingly beautiful. Her face and figure both commanded attention. I spotted her immediately. She saw me too, straightened up and said expressionlessly, "Emily Wilson, let's talk about Noah Brown." All eyes turned to me, scrutinizing. It was as if each gaze slapped me in the face. She stood there with the attitude of the rightful wife catching the mistress, looking down on me as if it were only natural. I hated being misunderstood. In front of her, I pulled Noah Brown out of my blocked contacts, called him over, and confronted them both directly. As soon as they met, they started arguing hysterically. From their heated exchange, I realized that I had been the catalyst all along. This scene inexplicably reminded me of that moment I had once stumbled upon in the small grove at Zhang High School. The former sweet thrills now clashed sharply with the reality in front of me. I finally couldn't bear the unwarranted accusations and interrupted Sophia Miller's tearful complaints. Sophia Miller, on the night of the New Year's Eve party in our senior year, you deleted the message I sent him, didn't you? She stopped crying, her cheeks still wet with tears. Even in such a disheveled state, she still evoked sympathy. A look of panic flashed in her eyes. Noah Brown looked at me in confusion. I continued, "And about the milk. On that day, you switched out the milk Noah Brown gave me, right? You know which day I'm talking about." Noah Brown, a bit slow on the uptake, asked, "What message?" Sophia Miller paled, attempting to deny it. "What gives you the right to say it was me? Do you have proof? You don't." "No, I don't," I replied, with a smile and a helpless sigh. I admit, I did like Noah Brown before, but I'm not a masochist, nor am I so naive to hang myself on this one tree for life. Do me a favor and leave me out of this. I don't want to be the whetstone sharpening your great love anymore. At that moment, a sudden image of someone flashed through my mind. That person's smile was radiant, outshining even the brightest sunny day. Besides, I like someone else now. All this drama might make him sad. I don't want him to be sad. After getting out of the taxi, I walked back to the dorm with Ethan Jones, side by side. The shadows of the trees danced, and the chirping of insects filled the air. Our shadows stretched and shrank under the streetlights, over and over again. I shifted my steps slightly. Our shadows overlapped. "Was the food good?" he asked out of the blue. I turned around and looked at him, smiling. Not as good as the places he had taken me to. "How about the wine?" I didn't say anything, just kept smiling at him. Ethan Jones lowered his head, leaning closer. A soft breath brushed past the tip of my nose. "Did you really have that much to drink? Just a couple of bottles and you're like this? If this is your tolerance, I'm claiming first place in drinking." "Ethan Jones, let's date." Huh? I stood on my toes and lightly pecked his lips. "Puppy Ethan, you're really cute." He looked utterly stunned, as if I had frozen him in place. His eyes weren't even moving. "Are you just saying drunk nonsense?" He coughed, fumbling to pull out his phone. "Come on, say that again. I'll record it so you can't deny it tomorrow when you're sober." "Then I guess I've just claimed first place in the confession category." He blinked, then put his phone away, looking serious. He ruffled my hair carelessly and said, "Dating is serious business. You can't be this hasty. Go back and sleep. Tomorrow, I'll start pursuing you." Are you sure you don't just want to skip the whole pursuing part?" He thought for a few seconds and then answered earnestly, "I'm sure." Maybe it was the bit of alcohol from earlier, or maybe it was that the thin paper wall between me and puppy Ethan had finally been torn down. That night, I slept soundly and dreamlessly. The next morning, I woke up to find out that he hadn't slept at all. Right after I sent him a good morning, he replied with an entire document, 359 words. All his excitement, confusion, and regret of a sleepless night were captured within it. At the end, he wrote, "You're not going to wake up and just leave me hanging, are you?" Me. Leave you hanging for what? Last night, that was I could feel his embarrassment through the screen. Something warm melted quietly in my heart. Me, puppy Ethan. Today is officially day one of you pursuing me. I'm downstairs, eagerly awaiting the arrival of Lady Emily. This is the end of the main story. Then I will continue with extra part, puppy Ethan's perspective. When Emily Wilson said, "Let's date," Ethan Jones felt like he was about to lose his mind. He stared at her over and over again. His heart was pounding so wildly it almost jumped out of his chest, but he forced himself to act calm and took out his phone. But his hands were really useless. They shook so much that he couldn't find the recording feature. Instead, he accidentally opened their chat interface. He didn't know what he said. His mind was bursting with fireworks. He was in a daze, right up until Emily Wilson stood on her tiptoes and kissed him. In that instant, his ears went deaf and the whole world paused. The fresh scent of the girl, mixed with a faint whiff of alcohol, wrapped around him in a way that was both domineering and playful. Her lips were soft and tender. Her eyes were big and bright, and when she blinked, her long eyelashes brushed against his eyelids. It felt like they brushed against his heart, itching and tickling. Emily Wilson had kissed him. She kissed him? Emily Wilson kissed him. Ethan Jones felt like he was floating, like he could lift off at any second. That night, when he got back home, he sent a message to his friend Liam Smith, who had moved to another city for school. She said I was cute today. Liam Smith was the only one who knew he had a crush on Emily Wilson. Okay, wanna play a game? She drank some alcohol today. Okay, hurry up and log in. She said, "Puppy Ethan, let's date." Log in, log in. She kissed me. Her lips were sweet, so soft, I'm done for. Get lost, you damn love brains. He first heard the name Emily Wilson back in middle school. She was the perennial runner-up. Whenever classmates mentioned her, they would first bring up another name, Noah Brown. This made Ethan Jones initially think they were in a relationship. After getting into Zhang High School, Ethan Jones heard those two names again. He joked to Liam Smith at the time, "Look at those two lovebirds. They're going to dominate first and second place again." Liam Smith replied, "If you're jealous, just say so. I'm not jealous. If I had that kind of energy, I'd rather go home and play a few more rounds of games." At first, Ethan Jones had only seen Emily Wilson on the honor roll. She wore the school's blue and white uniform, had fine bangs, and tied her hair in a ponytail. A small, oval face with big, round eyes. Ethan Jones thought to himself, so Emily Wilson is actually pretty cute. Then he glanced at the cold-faced Noah Brown standing beside her. What did he ever do to deserve her? The first time he met Emily Wilson in person was after the National Day holiday in his first year of high school, on the bus back to school. He and Liam Smith were munching on bread while hastily finishing their English homework, scribbling answers as they went. The bus came to a sudden stop, and a girl in the Zhang High School uniform standing beside them lurched forward. Instinctively, Ethan Jones grabbed her backpack. The girl clutched her chest, turned around, and thanked him. Her voice was cool, not as sweet as her appearance suggested. He immediately recognized her. It was Emily Wilson. The girl glanced at the English test paper in his hand. For some reason, Ethan Jones reflexively tucked the paper behind his back, his face reddening as he stood up and offered his seat. "Here, you can sit." Emily Wilson didn't decline. She turned and said something to Noah Brown, who was also standing, then came over and sat down. Ethan Jones clung to the handrail as Liam Smith urged him to hurry up with the homework. He kicked Liam Smith to get him to quiet down. "I noticed that your class's English homework looks the same as ours. Want to check our answers together?" Emily Wilson held a stack of test papers and tapped his arm. She put it politely, but she was clearly offering to let him copy. Liam Smith gratefully took the papers. "You're a lifesaver. We'll return them as soon as we get off." That homework Ethan Jones copied with an anxious heart. From that point on, Emily Wilson seemed to appear everywhere in his field of vision. There she was, on the honor roll. There she was, giving a speech as an outstanding student under the national flag. There she was, eating in the cafeteria. There she was in PE class. Often his eyes seemed to have a GPS, constantly locking onto a target named Emily Wilson. Every time he passed by her, the pounding of his heart made it clear he liked Emily Wilson. As for exactly when he started liking her, even Ethan Jones himself wasn't sure. Maybe it was the first time he saw her on the honor roll. Maybe it was on the bus. Or maybe it was all those times he pretended to run into her by chance afterward. His affection was cautious and restrained. She didn't remember him. In their second year, they were both selected to give a speech as student representatives. In the broadcast room, Ethan Jones repeatedly smoothed out the crease on the corner of his speech draft. Emily Wilson whispered, "Could you pass me the water? I'm a bit nervous and want a sip." He met her calm yet slightly apologetic gaze. Emily Wilson was trying to comfort him. Afterward, Ethan Jones walked a half step behind her. "Thank you." Emily Wilson looked surprised. "Huh? I should be the one thanking you." She smiled, her lips curving slightly, her eyes fixed on him with sincerity and warmth. Who could resist Emily Wilson when she was like this? Well, he certainly couldn't. As for that Noah Brown, damn him. A new girl transferred to science class too, and everyone said she was very pretty. Ethan Jones, however, was as stubborn as a mule and didn't agree. They asked Ethan Jones to name a girl at Jiang High School who was prettier than Sophia Miller. He casually mentioned a few names and finally brought up Emily Wilson. And there's that Emily Wilson. I think she's a bit better looking. Liam Smith knew Ethan Jones's secret, and it all started at the New Year's Eve party during their third year of high school. Previously, Ethan Jones had accidentally caught a glimpse of Class 3's student records in the office and discovered that Emily Wilson's birthday was on December 24th. At noon, he went out to buy a cake, a blue mermaid design. Liam Smith kept pressing him about who it was for, and Ethan Jones couldn't dodge the questions anymore. Liam Smith gossiped, "I get it now. You've secretly fallen for some girl behind my back." "It's nothing like that. I bought it for my mom. I'm bringing it home tonight." Emily Wilson and Noah Brown weren't dating. When Ethan Jones realized this, it felt like a weight had lifted off him. But Emily Wilson liked Noah Brown. The weight came crashing back down. At the party, Emily Wilson ran off to the lakeside in front of the library. He thought to himself, she was probably waiting for Noah Brown. Today was her birthday. Ethan Jones crouched far away, holding the cake and keeping her company. Her shoulders shook as if she were crying. After a long time, long enough for his legs to go numb, he decided to just go for it and stood up with the cake. He managed to deliver the cake. As a stranger. She was indeed crying, her voice thick with emotion, like a small, drenched, and frail kitten. Ethan Jones restrained himself from approaching, not wanting to startle her again. Silently, he followed behind her and walked her home. When she looked back, he quickly ducked into a stairwell corner and collided with Liam Smith, who had been quietly trailing him. Just as Liam Smith was about to shout, Ethan Jones covered his mouth and dryly tried to imitate a cat's meow. Liam Smith had a look of playful curiosity, insisting on peeking to see who Ethan Jones had escorted. Liam Smith found out Ethan Jones's crush was Emily Wilson in the days that followed. Liam Smith noticed Ethan Jones seemed unusually excited about the recent exams, especially when he returned from the examination room. He even came back with an apple. With his sharp eyes, Liam Smith saw a note attached to the apple. "Ethan Jones, was it from that girl you like?" "No." Ethan Jones was smug and carefully hid the note away. Then they bumped into Emily Wilson, and Ethan Jones's ears instantly turned crimson. Liam Smith belatedly realized, well, so it was Emily. Ethan Jones quickly wrapped his arm around Liam Smith's neck, clamping his hand over his mouth, and dragged him back to the classroom. Ethan Jones's little secret now had a noisy witness. With a heart full of admiration, he cautiously drew closer to her. Each step he took was filled with sweetness. On the night Emily Wilson kissed him, his mind was a chaotic whirl. A fleeting image crossed his mind. On a bus, a girl with her head bowed, listening to music, her profile pale and serene. Suddenly, she turned and met his gaze. The October sunlight streamed in. In the golden glow, she pursed her lips and smiled. At that moment, he could hear his heartbeat clearly. Thump, thump, vivid and strong. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It brings me inspiration to create more interesting stories.